Welcome back to another episode. This is Friday, May 10th. Can you believe it? We're into May, and we're well into May. It's not May, or it's not even early May. We're into May. I really hope you're having a great 2019. Cannot believe it's already May 10th. That means that half of the year is almost over. Yeah, almost over. Wow. Today's episode is a little bit different. It's a special episode, real talk. I just felt spurred to record this in the spur of the moment after I had been doing around 6 hours of just being with myself in the car, listening to podcasts, meditating, praying, all this stuff. It all came to a head, and I was like, I need to record an audio clip now. And as I'm recording, if I remember correctly, I said this would make for a really transparent Friday episode or just a special solo episode with yours truly. I don't typically enjoy doing these. I try to stay others focused in this particular recording. So this is a bit of a journal, a personal journal entry, but also with the awareness that it would likely be heard by others. So I hope it does help you. I hope you get something out of it and enjoy it. And I'm excited to share it with you, where I really felt alive and in a state of euphoric joy, just gratitude. That's the state I was in when I recorded this. The audio is crud, though, because I had recorded it on my phone while I was driving down the highway with the interstate. If you like this episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm on my ride home from, I'm recording this in my car, everybody. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this, but I'm recording this on voice memos on the cell phone in the vehicle. So I'm hands-free right now, passing through Virginia, I believe. I'm almost to North Carolina, probably another 30 minutes or so. I'm on 95 South. Man, just a lot of crazy stuff. I was just fortunate enough to travel home to New Jersey this past weekend. I got to see my entire family, direct family, all together. If not for less than 2 full days, it was still beautiful. Solid 30 hours together. I have to head back to North Carolina tonight because I got to be at work Monday morning. So it's a Sunday night when I record this. But hey, listen, I was listening to a podcast by, if you've ever heard of the book Wild at Heart, or if you've heard of John Eldredge or his wife Stacy, I believe John wrote another book called Captivated, more geared for women. They have had sons, and the sons created their own podcast, and I like listening to that occasionally. It's called And Sons Podcast. Great for people in their late 20s, even people trying to live an intentional life. The two brothers, Blaine, I forget the other brother's name. We're talking about the other brother's name, whose name I can't think of right now, just turned 30, or recently turned 30. So he left the decade of his 20s. And he's talking to his brother about his 20s and about where he is now and how he's always been a wild adventurer, even though he's been married for quite some time now. Early 20s is when he was married. He's now at a place in his life where he's got the 401k or the Roth IRA. He's got two young children. He's got, he's married. He has a house. He purchased a house. And from the outside looking in, his brother Blaine is commenting that if you didn't know any better, you would think that you're doing the societal checking of the boxes, and that's what it looks like from the outside. And he said something to the effect of, from the outside, yes, it would look like that, but it doesn't feel like that at all. I could take this down I hope to do another episode, and I hope I remember this by the end of this recording, to take this down another tangent of being careful not to convince ourselves that the safe route, even though it is more stable, to not get ingrained or rutted or embedded into that or addicted to that comfort. And so that's one way I'd like to take that, because even though he's an entrepreneurial type, he is, him and his wife and him go out and travel, committed together, to traveling once per year, to pattern interrupt their life, to the way he put it was to avoid autopilot. So habits are great, but autopiloting your life to where you kind of wake up and you're 35 or whatever age and you're just like, what happened to the last 10 years? That's what he's striving to avoid. So when he says autopilot, that's what he meant. So I hope to take another episode that angle. But I've been driving for over 4 hours now by myself, and I've been listening. I listened to some music, I listened to some messages, I listened to some podcasting, and I'm in a very thoughtful place right now in my own life, because what it did for me listening to that episode, which unfortunately, I can finish it out. I didn't get to the end of it, but I paused it because I paused it right at the time Blaine asked his brother, who had just recently turned 30, what are some of the things, right, that got you through your 20s? And I forget exactly how he put the question. I may go back and listen to it. But for the sake of this recording, I want to just go through it so before I lose train of thought. He said to his brother, he said basically, what are some things that happened? What are some things you implemented to get through your 20s successfully? The question that Blaine asked his brother was, 1, did you like your 20s? Did you enjoy that decade? And 2, what did you like about it? And then, what were the practices or things that you implemented in your decade of 20s that consistently contributed to your joy? The question that Blaine asked his brother was, did you enjoy your 20s? And what were the practices and things that you implemented that consistently added joy to your life in the decade of your 20s? What were the things or practices you implemented that consistently added to your joy in your 20s? And I paused it because I wanted to answer that question for myself. We always think to ourselves, oh, I know the answer. And but do I really? So I paused it, and I got very thoughtful for my own life and started talking out loud. What has been helping you? And a lot of things that came to my mind as I've been having a lot of breakthroughs recently in my own life. I'm just so floored and humbled by it all, to be honest. It absolutely just is incredible, man. Like, the stuff that I've been realizing and discerning and wisdom I've been gaining and just things that I've been picking up on and being able to just let go of performance and stuff, the addiction to people's acceptance in different categories of life, and that addiction to the need of affirmation and all that stuff, and thinking you need to perform in social settings and all this stuff has really been freeing. There's a lot I can get into there. But for the sake of this, what I wanted to focus on was I have 2 years, 4 months, and about 25 odd days left in my 20s. That's it. 2 years, 4 months, and 20-some odd days, or even days, left in the decade of my life's 20s. And I just got really pensive because I'm thinking to myself, like, holy crap, man. I know I'm young, and that sounds very young to some of you guys listening. Some of you guys, it may sound like, yeah, well, I'm a young 20-something. I have a long time until I'm out of my 20s. But, dude, like, I'm not kidding with you. As I record this, I feel like I could pull over and just weep. And not from a pathetic point of view, but in the sense of, like, life is so beautiful, man. And that's what brings me to why I'm recording this episode. I really think this is going to speak to, if not just one person in particular, I think there's some people who are listening right now who this is really going to speak to and resonate with, if not all of you. So I hope that you're in a place where you can actually hear what I'm saying, you're not tuning it out, and that it may really speak to you and you can resonate and feel like you're not alone in this, or hopefully I can put words to something you are feeling as you're in your 20s, navigating the turbulent decade of, a lot of fun, a lot of confusion, kind of chasing the wild goose. But for this episode, what hit me, God just put this in front of my mind, man. Like, as I'm driving, God put this in my mind. I guarantee you, when stuff like this happens, it's a moment of awe for me. So I like sharing these moments because they're very beautiful. Thankfully, I broke through to an area of I-95 now where there's very little traffic and it's free moving, so I'm kind of picking my own pace and kind of navigating smoothly. As I say that, a guy did the Virginia cutoff where they see someone's coming flying up the left lane and decide that they're going to get in the left lane before you pass them just because. But thankfully, I stand a little corrected as this gentleman has moved over, kindly respecting roadway, the unspoken rules of driving. So much respect to you, sir. I am surprised, especially considering it looks like you have a Virginia license plate. Virginians, I'm sorry, you are the worst drivers in the entire country from my experience. Again, take that with a grain of salt. If you've relocated to Virginia, I don't count you in that category. Maryland drivers, you have an excuse because the Beltline or the Beltway, whatever it's called, teaches you to drive like you're on drugs, so I understand to some extent. And I'm not a perfect driver. I'm not going to pretend. But if I'm in the left lane, the point is I try to respect the roadway rules. I guarantee you I probably broke some of those this evening in terms of etiquette. But anyway, that's besides the point. If you're chuckling right now, you're welcome for the laugh. So I'm from Jersey. If you're in Jersey, if you're in the left lane and someone comes up behind you, you move over so they can pass. Virginians like to camp out, going barely the speed limit or under. And even if they can move, most of the times they don't. Not going to say that if, I really can't. It's so rude. It's unreal. But anyway, I don't hate you if you're from Virginia, but learn how to drive. And it's funny, too, because if you're from Virginia and that annoyed you, you're like, whoa, I went up to Jersey, and New Jersey people drive like idiots. They're so rude and aggressive. It's actually funny because it's just the style of driving. If you're from Jersey and you drive in New Jersey, you will learn really quick, even if you relocate there, that they drive that way because you're expected to fill in the space. It's a little more fast-paced. It's not necessarily rude or pushy. It's just that if you drive slow, you are putting yourself and the others on the road in danger in that setting. So it's not that they're pushy or they're rude, which some people are in every state, but particularly up north. It's really just that people are getting to where they're going, and even if they're tailgating you, which I never appreciate, if they're coming up on your bumper and you're in the left lane, it means get over. It's not to be, aggressive to you. It's just get out of the way, And that's not rude. That's just roadway etiquette. And being rude would be intentionally going out of your way to make someone else uncomfortable. That's different. So anyway, hopefully that gives you some insight into a New Jerseyan driver's mind and how I think about driving. So one thing I wanted to keep going with is this. Hopefully you don't get upset with me by that. And if you do, I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize. I stand by that. Anyway, I'll probably cut that out of the recording. It's too much talk on driving. Here I am sitting in the car. I'm looking at this navigation in my rental car. I rented a 2019 Jeep Cherokee, not the Grand Cherokee. I believe it's the more compact one. Not a huge fan. I'm a 6'3" guy, don't have enough room in here. I feel very cramped. I feel I have more room in my sedan, actually. So if you're a bigger person, I would recommend probably 5'9" and under only go with this car. Of course, you test drive it, but if you are in the market for this vehicle, be keeping that in mind. I do like the ride. It's fairly smooth. It has a nice Apple CarPlay feature. That gets old in a year or two anyway. So I'm enjoying this car. I'm looking at the navigation on Apple CarPlay. It's right up on the screen here. Shout out to Turo, Turo. Great rental car app. You can rent other people's cars. So I'm renting Jeffrey's car. He lives in North Carolina, and it's all through the app. So I have insurance coverage, everything on this rental car. But it's a lot easier than going through an agency. About the same, but more. It's all in an app or online, so it's faster. Anyway, I look at the navigation, right, and I'm thinking about how I'm trying to get to my destination on this navigation faster. I'm thinking about how I'm passing people, or I'm trying to get out of the slow lane. I'm trying to get to the fast lane. I'm trying to find ways to get there faster. I'm trying to find ways where I can speed ethically, if that makes any sense. Not necessarily. As I pass a billboard that says Jesus is alive, I think that's a clear sign that maybe I should go the speed limit always. It's not just a suggestion. Facts. Okay, anyway, my point is I'm looking for ways as I travel to get to my destination faster. And it hit me all at once. As I've been striving, and all these realizations, I heard some news in my family today that really spoke to my heart. And it was just some breakthroughs in my family this weekend, just some crazy cool stuff, right? And I'm blessed by that. I'm in fact very blessed by that, and I hope that you can help you can rejoice with me in that rejoicing, and not feel like, well, what about me? Because envy is very toxic. Be careful of that. I don't say anything of this to sound cool or to spark envy. I just share it because it's my journey. I'm very particular about that, by the way. So I'm genuinely considering going back and editing that out. And if I don't, recognize that I'm trusting you guys as the listener, trusting you as the listener, that we're all in this together and we're supporting each other. If I end up leaving that in, this recording. And I'm dead serious, by the way. I record, all right, I'm looking at the navigation, trying to get to my destination faster. I'm thinking, man, why? Okay, it's like, well, I want to get there why? Well, because isn't it better to get there sooner than later? Why? So that I can get there and do what I want to do there sooner. But why? So my point is, what God showed me, I believe God showed me just now, as I looked down at the navigation a couple minutes ago and recognized that I'm striving to get to my destination faster, and as I'm burning through my 20s, and now I just have the end of a burnout candle left in the decade of my 20s. 2 years, 4 months, and 20-some days. That's it. For me, Jonathan, that's it for me in my 20s. I don't get to come back. I don't get to do the 20s again. That's it, right? And as I fight so hard in my 20s to try to figure things out and try to control things or try to get to where I want to go, yes, there are certain levels of discomfort in your life, whether that's financial, whatever category of your life, that of course I would say strive to find knowledge that when implemented can break you free of any, where maybe you're stuck or in something like, but, the point is, like, recognize that, yeah, you want more money, right? But getting up and sitting at the table with your son or your daughter and they're in middle school and they're having a bowl of cereal, that is it. Like, that is it. That's what you think so bad. That's what that longing in our soul that greed in our soul for more. It's right in front of you. It's right in front of us if we just open our eyes and be present now. We all want more, faster. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is God is showing me. He's showing me, saying, look around, like, open your eyes right now. This is it, Jonathan. This is it. Like, this world is not your home, of course, but, like, all this worldly success that you're striving so hard for to get to that destination faster and make the money and get the girl and get the house and get the cars. Yeah, okay, you get that. Let's say you get there. You get there faster. Then guess what? Your 20s are gone. I'm not saying don't be productive in your 20s. That's a very big advantage. Stay productive, stay on track, stay on course. But enjoy the process. Enjoy the freaking journey. And this is where the parallel of my car navigation, my car trip breaks down. The parallel of that to life's journey, life's path. Because we don't know the destination, but the parallel breaks down also in the sense that, yeah, you can stop and smell the roses in life because life's path is beautiful, is so engaging, is so intoxicating. There's not so much, there's not that much to really enthrall yourself with on an 8-hour car ride back to where you're staying. That's where this breaks down, okay? So, I'm not, I recognize that, but the beautiful thing is that life parallel God just threw in my face just now. And like, I understand be present and all that, but like, really, it's not just enough. Also, for Christians for people of the faith out there in your 20s, please hear this. This is something that God also put on my heart on my mind on this trip, as I kind of meditate on my life state right now, which is even people not of the faith. Like, you'll hear this and probably maybe think it sounds weird, but trust me, it's the best thing ever. It's all that matters, really. Realizing in your 20s, realizing God's love, realizing Jesus' love for us is not enough. You have to know it. And they're probably synonyms, yeah, but I want to really put words to that. You have to know it. And I'm not saying that to say if you haven't known it that you're behind, or that you need to go read a book, or that you need to hear more podcasts, or that you need to go to church. I'm saying when you know Christ's love, man, like, and that's the end game, man. That's it. And don't tune out if you're not a Christian or you're not. I'm just sharing that with the believers listening because I know a lot of you are out there. I got mad love for everybody listening, but particularly for my believer friends out there. Recognize the truth that, yes, you are loved and realize that, but try to let this time in your 20s, wherever you are in life, know it. Just know it. And when you know that, you can receive it. A lot of us have blinders to what's keeping us from knowing that love. That's all I'll say on that. But if you felt that love in your spirit and soul and heart and allowed it to renew your mind, then you resonate with that on the deepest level. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. So, back into the destination talk here. I'm on I-95, trying quick to get home as quick as possible, right? If you compare that to the story of the journey of life, what I believe God is showing me, again, is that those moments, those are it. That is how you make the most of your life. It's not just about trying to, yeah, it's great. Like, what I'm trying to do now is really, truly, consistently, like, this is something that's helped me throw off anxiety, and I'm not saying it's by my own strength. I give that to God, and I thank Him for that burden carry and taking it from me, clearing my mind. But there are still times where you come up against the daily minutia, and it can add up. It can friggin' add up. The way to fight against that, and they'll go, what's the point of even fighting it? Well, because that minutia, those weeds, keep you from when you start pulling those weeds to the side, you can see this beautiful sunset that is life. And you can see, oh my gosh, like, my kids are growing up right in front of my eyes. They're 2 years old now. They're 5 years old now. I don't have kids, no. Jonathan, I don't have kids, but I have nieces. I have friends with kids. I had a buddy and his wife. They just two of my friends. They just had their second child, and they're both younger than me. So it's a beautiful thing how fast life goes. But it's also something to be enjoyed. And so when I say enjoy your life, there's a lot that goes into that. But I truly mean it in the sense of like throwing off all the minutia as best as you can. And for me, I believe God helps with that and really handles that. Gives me strength to do all that. And when I can't, or what I can't handle, He handles all of that anyway. So throwing all that off so that you can then be present and enjoy the moments and see the moments and be in the moments instead of just thinking about what could go wrong if you're not always worried and stressed. That's coming from a place of a lack of trust and letting go. And that's coming from a place of fear. And it's not needed. It's not necessary. And trust me, I am so driven, and I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm entrepreneurial, and I tend to lean towards anger if stuff doesn't work how it's supposed to work. Like, that's how I am. And yet I'm learning this stuff because I've prayed, I've asked, I've been talking and just trying to keep my ears open more than my mouth. And I'm not great at it, but I'm trying what I can and doing what I can to really implement this stuff now, and not just learn about it and read about it, but really implement it. And when you ask, you will receive. So keep asking, keep pressing on, keep going. And so my point is just like, if you're listening to that and you're like, well, that sounds nice and romantic and beautiful, but I don't know how to get there in my life, I encourage you, keep pressing on. Don't get discouraged. There will be discouraging times, but don't wallow in it. Keep going, because what is the alternative? Is that attractive to you? Fine. Accept your alternative. For me, it's not attractive, especially when compared to the life that I believe God wants me to live. Now, I understand the difference between the actual life God has for me and the life that I believe God has for me, I understand. I correct myself. I do not understand that difference because I don't think anyone can know that, but I understand that there is a difference there. And that, in and of itself, that is called discernment. And that is something that makes us human. A big thing that I hope so deeply you hear in this podcast is a really deep Fantastic Friday episode, guys. I really hope you hear this. This is so deep. This is me at the realest level, guys and girls. This is me at the realest level. This is how I think. And so I'm very romantic in that sense. Like, I recognized a few months back that I refuse to settle, yes, but I also refuse to allow that, quotes, refusing to settle to become a season of procrastination. Hear me on that. Hear me on that. That's big. That's really, really big for the people out there who are like me, who are like, oh, I'm never going to settle on in spousal selection. I'm never going to, like, all that. That's fine. Like, I respect that so much. But hear me on that. Recognize what I just said. I said, don't allow your refusal to settle to become a season of hidden procrastination. Don't allow procrastination or like an insidious subconscious comfort delay on making important life decisions be present whatsoever in your true desire to refuse to settle. I hope that makes sense to you. That was a really good way of putting it, I think, because I am recognizing, not just by my age, largely by the fact that I'm almost 30, but by the fact that is, even in the last 2 to 3 years, I've gone through a ton of development, and largely it's due to time I've spent before God. I credit Him with all of it anyway. But even the worldly things that I've learned, all of it is accumulating, and I feel that a lot of things are about to happen, and they are happening as we speak in life that I've been hoping for as breakthroughs for so long. And I want you to hear me on this too. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's all that great. I'm grateful for it though. But I also want you to hear like the seasons of the 20s, and going back to the beginning of this talk, of this Fantastic Friday, when I was talking about, do you remember when I was talking about that podcast I'm listening to on my trip with the two brothers, and how I paused it right when he asked his brother, what did you do to like make your 20s work out? Well, I hope that I sincerely hope that this episode has given some insight into what that question spurred in me, especially if you're in your mid-20s or early 20s. I got so much love for you guys, because I'm right there with you. I'm 27 and a half, so right there with you. Whatever your age, take this and run with it, man. Take this and run with it. Like, your age is just a number, yes. So if you're at this stage in your life right now and you're 68, I dare you to move. I dare you to take some action. I dare you. I dare you to listen to that 27-year-old on a podcast and just see if it doesn't do something good in your life. That, not saying that it's coming from me. I think all wisdom, if there is any wisdom present in this episode, which yes, I do believe that there is, but I believe that. I think all wisdom comes from God, so I don't take credit for it. But what I'm saying is I dare you to go ahead and implement something if anything spoke to you. Don't allow that excuse demon of, oh, well, he's only 27. Screw him. He doesn't know anything about life. Actually, I do. I'm young. I'm 27. And I've put a lot of work into this, and I'm not saying I don't have a lot to learn, because here's the biggest thing I have learned. The biggest thing I have learned thus far, outside of, faith development, is the fact that the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. The more I learn, the more I realize that there is that I don't know, and it will continue to increase with the more I learn. And that's a fact. That's not just false humility. That's a fact. Anyway, that's about it for this episode, I guess. I want to make sure I don't miss anything on this recording, because this is gonna be good. This one's gonna hit hard for a lot of people. I can feel it. Man, this season of life is beautiful. If you're in a season of discomfort, you're in a season of unknown, you're in a season of like, man, when's my break gonna come? Like, when is this gonna happen? When is that gonna happen? I dare you to trust God. I dare you to give up that burden and live your life in the present. I'm not saying to be reckless, but what I am saying is, in the sense of, yes, take the necessary action, but with that burden, just let it go. You don't have to carry that anxiety. You don't have to be entangled. You can be free. In the process, let the process mold you. Let the pain, let the grief shape your character for the better, so that people who come after you, you can give them insight, give them surprising advice that would give them a moment of pause, a moment of relief. When they're in the field of treachery that you were in 2 years ago, and they hear what you say through your wise maturing process, that you allowed that shaping to take place, because you allowed that shaping to take place, that you are now valuable. Your words are a valuable asset to this person who is now going through something very similar, if not identical, to your life's journey that took you right through that path. Pilgrim's Progress is a very interesting read. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Pilgrim's Progress. There's elements of spirituality in that really reveal what I believe to be very strong truths about life's walk. And recognize that we're never impervious to being deceived, and we need God every single day. And I express gratitude every single day to God every single day, because I recognize that I'm nothing without Him. Even in saying that, I recognize the intrinsic value of each and every human being. Even though I say I'm nothing without that, I believe we were created in God's image, and therefore are inherently valuable, every single person equally and indefinitely. Man, I'm in a different headspace right now, guys. So if you're listening to this and you're going into work, I almost want to apologize if it's taking you to a state of reflection at this deep of a level, because you're gonna be thinking about this one at lunch. You're gonna be thinking about this one in the evening while you're working out, wherever you are. But yeah, I think it was important for me to get this off my chest. Hey, big tip for you, the listener. If you have something on your heart or on your mind that would help you to journal about, like, this is incredibly therapeutic for me to be recording this with the head knowledge that it will be listened to by other people. Kind of is tricking my mind in the moment to thinking, oh, I'm talking to people, because I am. I know I'm going to be this will be heard by people. It's easy to forget that this was pre-recorded as you listen to it, but even with that in your mind, because your brain thinks that you're present with me listening to this. But anyway, talk it out. You got an iPhone, you got an app, whatever kind of phone you use, you can record yourself. I just have my phone has been recording via an app called Voice Memos. If you don't even know where that is on your iPhone, just hold down the home button, ask Siri to open Voice Memos, and you'll be good. And record it and date it, title it, whatever it is you're going to talk about. Talk to yourself about it, talk to God about it, whatever it is. I recommend that because you're going to be amazed to go back in your vault and say, wow, I recorded this a year ago, and look at what I'm hearing from it right now. And also, recognize those moments. Before we go, recognize those moments, whatever stage in life you're in. Recognize that this is it. We were, as I was with my family this weekend, my oldest niece is 5 years old right now. And she is my first niece that I've ever had. And it's just a beautiful person all around. Now, she was a baby a blink of an eye ago. A baby. I remember holding her at the hospital when she was born. And since then, she's had, from the same parents, by the way, 2 more sisters. And another blink of an eye, she'll be 10, and her sisters will be older. And there may be another baby involved in that family. And, just in life, stuff happens as well. So it's like, enjoy the moments. Because, like, as much, I talked to my brother-in-law briefly about this as well, about how while, even though, like, he and I are similar-minded in the sense that we recognize that we don't want to be workaholics and miss the boat on investing in family and loved ones while they're young and while the relationships are here and now. We recognize that importance, but we also recognize balancing that with, okay, but we have to have food on the table, and if we're going to build a productive future for ourselves and our families, then we have to really put in a heck load of work right now and be pushing a plow. But then again, it's like, boom, 5 years old, boom, 10 years old, boom, and then there comes the cliche quote, life is what happens while you're busy making other plans. Even though, again, we talked about this, we both recognize that ambitious 20-year-old, that ambitious 23-year-old self we had, we're going to go and get it, we're going to get the goals, we're going to do this. And then it's like you have kids, then you have nieces, then you have life happening. And yes, I don't have kids yet, but I have family that I want to spend time investing in and loved ones. And it's amazing when you realize it's just so, it could be so easy even if you have the right mindset. Like all these things that, I grow up watching these like kid cartoons teaching you life lessons about virtue and about don't be a snobby rich person that blows people off. And I'm recognizing now certain truths about wealthy people, which are, a lot of wealthy people are envied by their community, envied by those in their family, envied by, society. So therefore they become closed off, cynical, and secretive. And that's a fact. That's a true thing. And also the attitudes that it takes to become wealthy, the moods that you must maintain a state of, and I'm not saying this is chronic, but you must overwhelmingly maintain a productive state of mind and a healthy lifestyle is hard for others to maybe see. And so that will then trigger envy, which can really detract from your own life if you're not aware of or careful of how that is around you. But my point is, you start to see these truths about life, like the rich guy, right? When you watch a movie as a kid, we all know the rich guy in the nice car who's a jerk and really rude and short with the clerk at the desk or whatever. But what I'm seeing, I'm just be honest, like I'm broke right now, right? Financially speaking, but that's not for long. It's just in terms of where I want to be. I consider myself broke right now. But I'm not broke because the mindset is different now, and I'm on track, and there is income coming in and stuff like that. But we've seen those movies with the rich guy coming in, being a jerk to people, and then speeding off in his Ferrari or his nice car or whatever, right? What I'm recognizing now is, yes, the movie's more so knocking the guy that is just a tool, or a girl who's just a bad person and not even caring about treating others with respect and prideful and overwhelmingly consumed in their own greed and self-absorption. But there is an aspect of that I could see myself now doing, which is, okay, because I bettered myself and because I went to seminars and invested all my money and resources and time into myself and others, and it has therefore yielded a positive result in my life that is enviable by others, and therefore people, instead of recognizing it and saying, hey, how'd you do that, decide that they're going to be nasty towards me, even on a subconscious level, or gossip, or not want to be friendly because they're jealous of what you have and envious, it makes me want to then be like, okay, well, forget you then. Who cares? I'm going to stay being successful. I'm going to stay working hard. I'm going to even work 10 times harder and smile even bigger. That's what part of me wants to do when that happens. And it's like, all right, let's see, like, you get success. And so, like, my point is, as I go through life, I'm seeing different things. And, like, you judge things as a kid so differently as a child. You judge things as, oh, well, of course I'll never be that rich old jerk in a nice car, or whatever that picture is, whatever that thing is, that virtuous movie or virtuous cartoon taught you. You start to see all these things differently the more you develop. But I don't think you should be the mean rich person in a car. I don't condone that. I think you should be a wealthy, hyper-generous person. If you're not, and when I say wealthy, that doesn't necessarily mean that I think you need to be financially rich. That's for God to decide. But for me, I see that as goals. And so I can bless other people more generously. I love giving. I think it's important to give. I think giving is just as nice as receiving. And that's another topic, receiving. You know, it's important to... I thought that was a cop. Not that that would matter. It's not like cop's a bad thing. That's good. Remember, I'm in my car, guys, so any background noise, I appreciate your patience with that. Anyway, I think I recorded enough for this episode. Remember, while you're on the path, don't fight so hard to get to the destination, because most of us, and the truth is all of us, none of us know what the destination is, right? I think it's important to set benchmarks. I believe it's important to have benchmarks and goals and a vision. However, be hyper-intentional about your life, all that stuff, yes. But be hyper-intentional in the pursuit. Maintain the contentment with the dissatisfaction of not being where you want to be. Feel that tension, allow that to pull you forward, to pull you ahead, to get to further towards where you think or say or believe you want to be. And take action. Keep going. But enjoy the cereal with your son, with your daughter, with your niece, with your family. Enjoy rushing out the door to the appointment. Enjoy the small pauses with your loved ones throughout the day. Enjoy laughing at the inside joke text that you got from your husband or wife. Like, enjoy all that stuff, because those are the moments that matter more than anything. More than anything. Oh, man. Life goes so fast. Love you guys. Talk soon. Live wide open, and Godspeed. Fearless.